Hey guys, welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name is Kiara and I'm a full-time crochet business owner. And in this video, I will be bringing you guys along with me to 3 markets to sell my crocheted plushies, and we will do some market prep together. I will, of course, bring you guys to the market with me and try and update you guys throughout the market. And then, of course, I will give you guys a whole breakdown of all my sales at each market. So 3 markets in a week is very exhausting. It's a lot. I did 3 markets in a week about 2 weeks ago, and it was definitely really exhausting, but I did do a video about it when I did those 3 markets, so you can definitely go check it out if you'd like. In that video, I didn't really do the market prep with you guys. I just kind of started right off the bat going to the markets with you guys. I will add my market prep though to this video because I am supposed to have a market tomorrow, which is a Thursday night market, but the weather is looking really bad, like thunderstorms and like pouring rain. So if the organizers don't cancel or reschedule that market, I'm not even sure I'm gonna go. So I don't know, we'll obviously keep an eye on it, see if it changes. But I do want to show you guys all the market prep to add to this video. Last time I did the 3 markets in 1 week, I didn't show you guys the market prep, and the video was already over an hour long since I did a separate breakdown for each market. And I am planning on doing that again for this video, but there is a pretty big chance that tomorrow's market is either canceled or I don't go. So I will show you guys everything I crocheted since my last market a week ago, just to add to this video in case tomorrow's market gets cancelled. So my last market was a Thursday night market, so almost a week ago. I did do a video on that one. Unfortunately, it wasn't super successful, but I still did a video on it to show you guys. So this is everything I crocheted since that market. So basically everything I crocheted in a week. So I will show you guys those items quickly, and then of course I will need to get all those items ready, put price tags on them, and put tags with my logo just to get them ready for tomorrow's market in case it's not cancelled and I do go. Now, if tomorrow's market is not cancelled and I do end up going, this video will probably be pretty long since I am showing you guys all the market prep. But anyways, let's get right into it. So first off, I have this giant cat. I sold one of these the last time I had 3 markets in a week. I didn't have one like this at my last market last week because I didn't have time to make one for last week's market. So anyways, I made one for this week's markets. This one has embroidered eyes usually, or they're like crocheted eyes, not embroidered. I crocheted these eyes. I didn't use safety eyes because I use a specific pair of pliers to get those big safety eyes on, and I can't find them recently. My boyfriend used them for something and we can't find them, so I need to go buy another pair. But in the meantime, I just crocheted these eyes, and that way it's even safer, and there's not the risk of safety eyes coming off for some reason. So I just have this cat that I freehanded. Next, I have a giant jellyfish, light blue and like variegated blue colors. For these eyes, I thankfully didn't need those big pliers because they're not like sinker eyes, so they're easy to put on. And then I kind of like made them sink by like threading yarn and like pulling it tighter. So I still managed to get that cute look. So I have this big jellyfish. Next, I have a red and black dragon with super cool eyes. This is my own pattern that you can find on my Etsy and Coffee shop. It was released not too long ago after there's been quite a bit of demand for it. So I made a red and black one. I actually didn't sell any like last week or anything, but the reason I made one is because my mom also does markets where she lives with some of my items, and I had the opportunity to send a few things with her, and dragons was one thing that she completely sold out of at the last event that she did. So I sent her a few of mine, but then I had to make at least one more to replenish my inventory of dragons, and I sent my mom one in this color, so I made another one since I think it's really cool and people love these colors. Then I made 3 small axolotls. The reason I made these axolotls is the same reason as the dragon. I didn't sell any at my last markets, but my mom completely sold out of them at the last event she did, and she needed more. So I had 3 in my inventory, and I sent her all 3, so I made 3 more to replenish that. Then I made these 2 chunky frogs in this super cute green color. I just freehand these, but you can probably tell they are based on the original leggy frog pattern. So if you're looking for a pattern for these, I would suggest going to check out the original one by Not Jaded Co. And when I make them with really chunky yarn, their legs and arms curl, and people love that and they find it super funny, so that's super cute. Then I made a bunch of sea turtles in different sizes. I sold a few of these at my last few events, and my mom needed more, so I just had to make a lot more. So I have 3 jumbo ones. I will show you guys like all the colors individually. So I have this color. These are the same eyes as the giant jellyfish, so I didn't need the big pliers for these either, so that was great. I love this color combination. I did need pliers for these eyes since they are sinker eyes, but I did find another pair of pliers that work okay, so these are super cute, and I used those other pliers. They're not as good as the ones that I lost, but they work and they get the job done. And lastly, for the jumbo turtles, I have this teal color combination. So this, I call them jumbo turtles. I know some people make some turtles that are a lot bigger than this, but I try to focus more on small plushies. So this is a big plushie for me in my booth. This is my own pattern that you can find on my Etsy and coffee shop, and this is part of a pattern bundle, and this is the bigger size turtle that's in the bundle when made with Bernat blanket yarn. I will show you guys the smaller size right now. So I also made a smaller sea turtle in the same colors, the same teal colors as the jumbo one. So this is the smaller sized sea turtle. When made with Bernat blanket yarn, it comes out smaller. So the pattern bundle has 2 different sizes. This is the smaller one. And I did make smaller sea turtles than this. Same pattern as this one, the same one as in the pattern bundle, but with thinner yarn, so they come out smaller. So I will show you guys those smaller sea turtles. These are the smaller sea turtles that I made. So as you can tell, they're even smaller than the small one in the pattern bundle because I used the Dollar Tree yarn Premier Just Chenille, so it is thinner than Bernat blanket. So I made one in these colors, these 2 different shades of teal, and 2 different shades of pink. These have been selling really, really well for me this year. They've been selling really well for me and for my mom too. So again, I had to send my mom some of these, and I made some for my markets too to replenish. The next and last items, I have 10 of these. They're all the same except they're just in different colors. I will show you guys all the colors, but I just wanted to show you guys 2 of them. They are little chill pills. I have made some of these in the past, like to sell at my booth, and they weren't a huge hit. So I haven't been making them again for my booth, but my vendor friend who is supposed to be there tomorrow, obviously depending on the weather, we don't even know if anyone's going, but she's supposed to be at Sunday's market too. So anyways, she requested some chill pills like this, the size of a stress ball, to give to her coworkers. So she ordered 10 of them. She said just make any colors, doesn't matter. So I made 10 of them in different colors. So here are 2, here are 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, and the last 2. So I made 10 of these, but these are going to be for my vendor friend. They're not going to be available at my booth, but if anyone sees them for any reason and they're like, ooh, you should make them, then I might try to make them again and sell them again at markets. They just weren't a hit for me in the past, but maybe they will be again, I don't know. So that's everything I crocheted since my last market, so I need to get all that stuff ready, except for the chill pills. I won't be putting price tags on those since they're just going to my vendor friend, which usually she's my neighbor. We usually try to get our booths beside each other. The organizers are usually really nice and try to accommodate that. So I need to put price tags and tags with my logo on everything else. I won't be doing a time lapse of that because this video is probably going to be pretty long already. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and talk to you guys when I'm done. Hey guys, so it's Thursday, like early evening. I completely forgot to like update you guys and talk to you guys yesterday after putting price tags and stuff on all the items I showed you guys. So I'm just gonna update you guys now. Also, sorry if you're hearing like a constant thumping noise. It stopped now. I don't know if you guys can hear it like through my phone. But I don't know what it is. People upstairs that live upstairs also hear, they're also hearing it. They also don't know what it is. There is construction going on nearby, so that's possibly it. So anyways, sorry about that. So anyways, I did crochet a few things since last night. I just made a bunch of little frogs, basically the same as the big frogs I showed you guys yesterday, but they're just smaller. I already packed them all up, so I won't show you guys, but I did want to talk to you guys a little bit about today's market and what's going on. So I sent an email yesterday to the market organizers just asking if there was a possibility that today's market was going to be either canceled or like rescheduled due to the weather, because last year these organizers do markets on Thursday evenings and they also do markets on Sundays, like during the day. I don't think they had to cancel or reschedule any Thursdays, but there was a few times on the Sundays when the weather was looking quite dangerous. They like did a rain date for that market, and then we could just go to that market without paying an extra fee, since it was basically a market just getting rescheduled. So anyways, I sent them an email asking if that was possibly the case for today, and they still didn't answer, and they didn't send an email separately to mention anything about the weather. So I'm assuming it's just a go for today, but the weather's looking pretty questionable. It is looking a bit better than it did yesterday, though, I gotta be honest. It says it's going to stop, like the rain and thunderstorms or whatever. It says it's going to stop at 5 or 6. So that's good. But we would be setting up between 4 and 5. So I just don't want to get rained on while setting up. But anyways, so far it's looking like we're going and just kind of hoping for the best. But there have been quite a few times this year so far that the weather app was looking just like this before market. And we decided to go anyways. And the weather ended up being just fine. Like last week on the Thursday, I did mention before the market that the weather was looking a little bit questionable, and my market friend even said, okay, you know what, I'm not going, I don't want to risk anything. And we got there and didn't get a single drop of rain and no wind, nothing. So I'm really hoping that it's the same thing tonight, that we're gonna get there and it's gonna be just fine. Where I live, it's a bit windy, but it's not raining right now, so I don't know. I'm keeping an eye on it. If it gets really close to the time to leave for the market and I decide not to go for some reason, I'll let you guys know, obviously, and of course I will let the organizers know. But so far, it's looking like I'm going. So, I will just get myself ready. Everything is basically ready. My square was plugged in all night and all that stuff. So I just wanted to update you guys on like the weather and that whole situation. But if everything is good to go, I will talk to you guys before I leave for the market. And if anything changes, I will let you guys know also. That sound is still happening. But anyways, I had gotten all ready and everything for the market, not knowing if it was canceled or whatever. I had sent an email to the organizers yesterday. I'm not even sure if I mentioned this earlier, but I had sent an email to the organizers yesterday, kind of just voicing my concerns about the weather. They hadn't answered until just like recently, and they just said, just hold on, we're making a final decision. And then a few minutes after that, I received an email from the organizers saying that they decided to cancel tonight's market due to thunderstorms and strong winds. They just don't want to risk anything. and it's probably going to be the same as last year, where we can use how much we paid for this market towards another one of their markets if they don't make a whole other date to make up for this market. So I just told them I'm literally booked for all of their markets for their whole season. I'm booked for all of their markets that I'm available for. Of course, there's a few that I couldn't do because I'm at bigger events. But I just asked them if they're going to be doing Christmas markets again this year, and if they are, if hopefully I can use this credit from this market towards a Christmas market. If not, then unfortunately I'm going to be losing on this booth fee. But at least I'm not going to have anything that's getting damaged in the rain or the wind. So I got all ready, but that's okay. I will go change back into my clothes that I had on before this, because I put on my shirt with my logo, but I will take that off and go put my PJs back on, because I'm gonna be staying home, just crocheting. I will have all of tonight and then tomorrow, which is Friday, to crochet, and then I'm just gonna have a market on Saturday and one on Sunday, so hopefully we can have 2 good markets this week instead of 3. Hey guys, so it's Friday evening. I haven't really talked to you guys for a little bit, but for you guys it's like 2 seconds. So I will show you guys everything I crocheted just really quickly. Everything I crocheted last night and today. I did make a bunch of those little frogs yesterday morning, but I already have those all packed up. But everything else that I made will need price tags and tags with my logo, so I will need to get those ready. So I will show you guys them really quickly. So first I have 4 small bees. I have 3 in this like darker yellow and then 1 in like a brighter yellow. This is my own free pattern that you can find on my coffee shop. I say coffee shop, but it is available for free for you guys. Then I have a narwhal. I just freehanded this. I don't have a pattern for this, but the body is basically the same as, I have a whale pattern on my Etsy shop, and the body is like basically the same, and then instead of putting like the water that comes out, I just put a horn for it to be a narwhal. But to be honest, like I didn't go and follow that pattern. I wrote that pattern a long time ago, so I didn't go and follow that pattern, but it's the same like concept. I mean, I did write that pattern, so it's still kind of the same concept. So anyways, I made this narwhal because I actually have a follower that follows me on Instagram. She lives in California, or she's in California, and for reference, I'm in Canada. So anyways, she said she was visiting the city that I live in July. She messaged me like a while ago, a few months ago, and she was asking if I had any narwhals. And I said, like, at the time I didn't have any narwhals, but I said I could definitely make some for the time that she'll be visiting, because she was interested in buying one and coming by one of my markets. And I did make a narwhal a while ago, but it sold, and she just messaged me recently asking which markets I'll be at, so I kind of like directed her to which markets I'll be at, and then I remembered she wanted a narwhal, so I made a narwhal in case she comes by this weekend. I think it's just really awesome that she's from literally a different country than me and she's interested in buying from me at a market, so that's really awesome. Then I made 2 stingrays. I actually haven't made stingrays in a while. I'm gonna try to show you guys a little better. So I have this like purple one, and then the belly is like this, which I think is really cool. And they also have like little smiles too, which I think is super cute. And then there is a blue one. Same concept and everything. I just freehanded them. I also took really nice pictures of these to add these to my coffee shop, because I will be trying to sell plushies online again, to kind of reach a wider audience than just markets. So I took nice pictures of them and kind of like just touched them up a little bit to put them on my coffee shop, since I'll be giving that another try. And lastly, I have 3 rubber duckies. I mean, they're just little duckies that look like rubber duckies. I actually haven't made these before. This was my first time making them. I made them because my mom does markets for me with my plushies where she lives, and someone that I know up in that little town asked if I made little duckies like this, and she was interested in buying some, so I told her that I'd make some and send them for an event that my mom's going to be doing later on. So I'll bring them to my markets. If they sell, then I'll make more to send with my mom later on, but I just thought they'd be nice to try. So I'll just need to get all of those plushies ready, put price tags and tags with my logo, and pack them all up for tomorrow. Everything is ready because, I mean, I got everything ready yesterday in case I did go to yesterday's market, but then it got cancelled. So everything is ready. I will double check, make sure I have everything still. But I will get all those plushies ready and then just pack them up, and I will go to bed soon. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow morning, probably just before I leave for the market, and I will do my best to kind of update you guys at the market, show you guys my setup and all that good stuff. Hey guys, so it's Saturday morning. I'm all ready to go to the market. I'm gonna be leaving shortly. Everything is ready. So I will show you guys my setup once it's all done. I don't think I'll really be able to get clips of me setting up. I'll try. But we only have an hour, so when we only have an hour to set up, I really try to just hurry up and get everything ready as soon as possible. But I'll do my best, and then I will try and update you guys throughout the day too on how the market's going. It's just a bit past 10 now, and I'm completely set up. So the weather's really nice. It's not too hot, a little bit windy, but nothing crazy. So hopefully we can have a good day, and I'll try to keep you guys updated. I just made my first sale, sold 2 items to one person, and their total came out to the exact amount that I paid for the booth fee. So technically my booth fee's paid off. So the rest of the sales I make today will be profit. I've made one more sale since those 2 first sales, so it's pretty slow so far. I'm hoping it picks up like in the afternoon or soon at least. Yeah, like there's not that many people walking around, but there are some. So hopefully I can make more sales, and hopefully there's a bit more traffic soon. It's almost 2 p.m. and the market's done at 3. It's pretty slow right now. It did pick up a bit around 12 to 1, but now it's back to being slow. But I still made some sales, and I sold one big, more expensive item, so that was really nice. But hopefully we can still make a few more sales before it's time to go. Alright guys, so I'm back home from Saturday's market. I do have to say, when I did mention earlier that it wasn't too hot, that changed pretty quickly. It got pretty hot. I'm really sweaty right now, and it was just really hot throughout the day, but honestly, it's been a lot hotter recently, so it was a bit cooler than it normally is, but still very hot. So anyways, today's market was a bit slow. I found, like, compared to other markets I've done with this organizer, but even the organizer herself was like, it is really slow. We didn't really know why. There could have been a lot of different factors. But yeah, so the traffic was a bit slow. But I still didn't do horrible. I tried to update you guys pretty often. It was mostly really slow at first, the first few hours, and then there was a bit more people around noon. The traffic never really picked up like insanely, but personally I got a little bit of a rush of sales towards the end, where a few people bought a few items, and that kind of brought up the amount of money I made and brought up my sales. So that really helped towards the end, a few people buying multiple items. And like I mentioned earlier, I did sell one bigger, more expensive item, which definitely helped. Also, one thing, this market is mostly geared towards dogs. That's kind of what it's like advertised as, where people can bring their dogs, and like they can play with other dogs, meet other dogs. Some vendors, a lot of vendors, sell dog related items. So I'm not saying people with dogs don't buy from me, a lot of them do, but I mostly do really, really well at events that are geared more towards kids, because it's a lot of kids that like my plushies. And at today's market, there wasn't a lot of kids is what I noticed, so maybe that like kind of was a factor in the fact that I wasn't making an insane amount of sales. I'm not saying I did horrible, like, in any way, but there wasn't a lot of kids, which kids are usually the people that want to buy from me. They kind of ask their parents, hey mom, dad, or whatever, you know, can I get this? And then that's how I make a lot of sales, is kids asking their parents or grandparents to buy something for them. So it was mostly adults today at the market that bought from me. There was some kids, just not a lot. But that's what I found. When it's mostly adults at the market, or mostly adults buying from me, that's usually when I end up selling more expensive items, because they're buying it for themselves or even for a gift for someone. But when it's a parent or grandparent buying for their kid, sometimes there's even more than one kid, so then they say, okay, we'll pick a small one since we don't want to buy a huge plushie for each of you, since that would get expensive, obviously. Expensive items, they don't sell super, super often, but sometimes the right person comes along and then they just decide to buy it since they like it so much. So, it was mostly adults today, but still worked out for me a little bit. So let's get into how much money I made today. So today I made a total of $437. So it's not like super, super bad. Like, it's still decent. The booth fee was $50. The square fees were $7.47. Most people paid with a card today. I did not collect that much cash, so most purchases were made with a card, so that brings up the fees. So my total profit for today is $379.53. So it's not exactly 10 times the booth fee, which is normally kind of what I aim to make, but it's not absolutely horrible. Obviously, I would have liked to make more. I would have liked to reach 10 times the booth fee, but I'm not going to say I'm super disappointed. I'm still okay with my sales. It could have been a lot worse. Recently, I've done a few markets that I've done worse than this, so I'm okay with this. So now I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of everything that I sold. So I will tell you guys how many of each items I sold out of the amount that I brought. I will tell you guys how much I sold the item for, and I will put a picture of that item up here to show you guys what it was. So starting with medium cats, I started with 3 of them and I sold one for $20. I started with 22 mini chickens and I sold one for $10. I started with 12 regular chickens and I sold one for $18. I started with 26 chicken nuggets and I sold one for $8. I started with 8 elephants and I sold one for $28. I started with 3 rubber duckies that I made yesterday and I sold 2 of them for $15 each. I started with 14 hot dogs and I sold 2 of them for $25 each, and they also come with the basket and the napkin. I started with 131 keychains. I actually crocheted quite a bit of them over there, but I just added them to my inventory as I finished them. So I started with 131 keychains and I sold 4 of them for $8 each. I started with 9 mini dinos and I sold one for $12. I started with 5 big mushies and I sold one for $20. I started with 8 snakes and I sold 2 of them for $25 each. Those were the 2 first items that I sold. One person bought 2 snakes and their total was $50, so that paid my booth fee, so that was nice. I started with one rainbow pillow and I sold it for $60, so that was the big, more expensive item that I sold today. I started with 11 small sea turtles and I sold 3 of them for $18 each. I started with 8 jumbo sea turtles and I sold 1 for $38. And lastly, I started with 26 mini whales and I sold 1 for $8. So that's a total of 23 items that sold. So nothing crazy, but it's not horrible. That big item helped bring that total up, so that was awesome. So for my best sellers today, number 1, which is usually the number 1 bestseller, was keychains and I sold 4 of them. Number 2 bestseller was small sea turtles and I sold 3 of them. And we have a 3-way tie for number 3, where I sold 2 of each of these items. There's rubber duckies, hot dogs, and snakes. So those were today's best sellers. I wasn't surprised to see the keychains up there again. Small sea turtles are usually a pretty good seller too. Hot dogs, they were really popular when I started making them last year. Like, I would sell out almost every event. I could barely keep them in stock. It was really hard for me to keep making enough to sell. But this year, they're not that big of a hit. I sell some once in a while, but it's really weird. They're not that big of a hit this year. But some people still really like them. The 2 people that bought hot dogs today were really happy with them, found it awesome. They just found it hilarious and they just decided to buy one. And rubber duckies, I mean, I made them for the first time yesterday. The 2 that I did sell were to the same person, so I don't know if they're always going to be a good seller like that, but I will definitely try to make more tonight to see if they sell again tomorrow, since I only have 1 left. And snakes, I don't sell those often, so it was nice to sell 2 snakes. They're kind of just there. A lot of people consider buying one when they're like considering their options, and then usually they end up picking something else, but someone bought 2 snakes today. So that's nice. So yeah, overall, today's market was okay. I'm really thankful for the person who bought that big rainbow pillow. Expensive items like that, you know, they don't sell super often, they're not for everyone, but when the right person comes and they buy it, it's always nice because they really like the item. It's just nice to find, when someone finds something they like so much, they really enjoy it. And I find at these particular markets, it's advertised obviously as like a local market of like local vendors, local artisans, all that stuff. So the people that show up usually, they expect for things to be maybe a bit more expensive than like Walmart or things like that because they are handmade. So the people that show up at these kinds of markets usually are willing to pay those handmade prices, and they really value the work that people put into making their items. So that's really nice. A lot of people today like gave a lot of compliments on my stuff. A lot of people were really amazed by all of my creations. So I really appreciate when people like share with me that they really enjoy my work and things like that. So that was really sweet of all of these people. And I still had a lot of fun and met a lot of amazing people. Even though I didn't really make as much money as I would have liked to, I'm still okay with my sales. I'm not like disappointed. This venue is really close to my house too, so it's not like I went super far and spent a lot of gas or anything. So I am okay with today's market. I can't say I'm like overly satisfied, but I'm not disappointed. So I still have time tonight to hopefully make a few things. So I will try to make more rubber duckies since, I mean, I only have 1 left. Who knows if they're going to be a hit again. It's like the first time I made my fried eggs, I didn't sell any today, but the first time that I made fried eggs, I think I started with 3, and then at one market I sold like either 2 or all 3. Like it was really, like I sold most of them, if not all. So then I made a bunch more for more markets, and then I haven't sold any since then. So I don't know if the rubber duckies are going to be like that. Maybe they were like a one-time hit, I don't know. But I will probably try to make more of those tonight. I don't think I'll have enough time to make a whole other rainbow pillow. I might even start one, like, I don't know. It is pretty time consuming and it's pretty big, but I might make a few rubber duckies and then get started on a rainbow pillow. Even if I don't finish it tonight, I can get started for my next market. So I don't know. I will go take a shower first of all, and then I will go and crochet and update you guys later tonight. Hey guys, so it's like almost 9 p.m. I think. But I'm not going to bed like just yet, but I just figured I would update you guys right now. Anyways, I didn't crochet anything since I talked to you guys. I'm working on my website right now actually. So I believe I mentioned this yesterday. I will be trying to sell online again. Of course, I'll still be doing markets and everything. But the reason that I want to sell online is because since like February last year, I've been selling my plushies at a few consignment stores, but unfortunately, starting at on the last day of this month, I will no longer be selling my plushies at consignment stores. I won't get into all the details, but I will no longer be selling them there. But I still want to find a way to sell my plushies somewhere other than markets. So I'll be trying online selling again. I mean, I've tried a bit before, but I never really put my mind to it. But I'll try to really do that. The only thing that like really sucks with selling plushies online is the cost of shipping. I know in the States, I think it's not so bad, but I'm in Canada and the shipping costs are absolutely insane and just keep going up. So honestly, I think that's really going to limit the amount of people that buy from me online, but I might as well have it all available. I might as well have it out there. Might as well give it a try. So, I don't know. I very well could have done this whole website stuff like after tomorrow's market, but I don't know. I had my mind set on it and I really wanted to work on it. So, yeah, I'm really not tech savvy at all. So this is a huge challenge for me. I'm still figuring it all out. This website's not going to be perfect anytime soon, but I'm trying. I'm trying to get some things on there. So, I don't know. That's what I've been working on this whole time. My cat's meowing. That's what I've been working on this whole time, and that's probably what I'm going to work on until I go to bed. So, I did not crochet anything for tomorrow's market, but I still have a pretty good inventory. So, yeah, I will talk to you guys tomorrow morning before the market. Hey guys, so it's Sunday morning before the market. I'm going to be leaving soon. Everything is ready. I mean, I didn't touch really anything last night. So everything is already still in the car. I'll just be bringing my bag of supplies to crochet at the market. I crocheted quite a few keychains yesterday, so I will probably make some more today. The weather is looking okay today. I think it might drizzle a little bit this morning. When I brought my dogs out, right when I woke up this morning, it was raining lightly, but I think it's going to stop pretty soon, so hopefully it won't affect like our setup or anything like that. And today there will be 2 other vendors selling crocheted plushies, so honestly I'm a bit worried about that, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, obviously as soon as there's someone else selling something similar to you, your sales kind of get cut down, but we'll see. I don't know, I can't say right now for sure how it's gonna go. I don't know. So, we'll see. I'll show you guys my setup once it's done, and I will do my best to update you guys throughout the day again today. It's almost 12. I've made a few sales so far. I made quite a few sales like right off the bat, right when I was done setting up, but nothing since. There's good traffic. Sales are a bit low for the amount of traffic, but at least there's traffic, so hopefully we can make more sales. Hey guys, so I'm back from Sunday's market. Today was a pretty interesting one. So, when I say interesting, like I don't necessarily mean bad, but I guess a lot to say about today's market. So I'm gonna start by saying the weather. When we got there, it was like drizzling a little bit, like on and off. And then, so we decided to pitch the tent before anything else, and we get to park right behind our booths at this event. So that was really convenient. We could move things around in the car to get the tent out and the weights out just to put the tent. That way we can put things under the tent in case it did rain, because it did while we were setting up. At this event, we have, technically the market only starts at 11, and we're allowed to start setting up at 9. But usually I try to be set up as quickly as possible because at that venue there's usually a lot of people walking around even before 11. So anyways, I was basically all set up, and then it started to rain a bit like harder, so I couldn't put everything out, like I couldn't put everything out because the rain was coming under my tent a little bit the way it was raining. So items that I was going to put right at the edge, I had to wait till it stopped raining, but it stopped raining a bit before 10:30, I think. So that was great, and then the weather was just fine for the rest of the day, so that was amazing. And then also, as for this morning, I told you guys that on the vendors list for this event, there was 2 other people selling crocheted plushies. So throughout the event, at some point, I had to go use the bathroom, so I walked past all the other vendors because I was basically like almost at the end. So I had to walk past all the other vendors to go to the building that has a bathroom. And I only saw one vendor selling just crocheted plushies that they were on the vendors list. But there was another one that I was expecting to see since they were on the vendors list, but I didn't see them. And when my grandparents went walking around, just to walk around, they said they didn't see that one either. So I don't know if she just like didn't show up or something happened. So anyways, I think there was only one other vendor selling just crocheted plushies, and then there was another vendor that was selling a little bit of like mix of things. I think they had some bigger like crochet teddy bears, but they had like other things too. So that wasn't a booth of just crocheted plushies, so I believe there was only one other selling just crocheted plushies like me. So at the beginning of this market, there was pretty steady traffic almost right away. When I updated you guys, I had made a few sales already. One was from a returning customer that came from meeting me at another event, well, another market at that venue. So there was really, like, there was a lot of traffic. I was really kind of surprised by the amount of traffic. There was a lot of people walking by, but they weren't shopping. Like, it wasn't like they were not stopping at my booth. Like, my booth neighbors also noticed there's a lot of traffic, but no one is stopping and buying, which, I mean, they have every right to do, don't get me wrong. But as a vendor, it's a bit like, sad when there's a lot of traffic, but no one's stopping to look at anyone's stuff. And I think at the beginning, especially, a lot of traffic was coming from the other end, and I was all the way at this end, so they were passing by all the other vendors, including the other vendor selling crochet plushies. And so by the time they got to my booth, they had already bought a crochet plushie. They had already spent all their money. So that's one thing. I think the economy right now is horrible. A lot of people don't have a lot of money to spend on things they may not need. So they probably set themselves a budget for the day. And then by the time they got to my booth, they spent it all. Like, they bought other, like, crochet plushies at the other booth, or other things at other people's booths. So that was a thing. Like, I think a lot of people just don't have the money to spend right now, which is understandable. It just sucks for us vendors because we rely on people spending that money. But yeah, so there was a lot of traffic, but not a lot of sales at first. And then I found sales picked up mid-afternoon for me, and they were decent for the rest of the day. So I still did good today. I'm happy with today's sales. For the amount of traffic that there was, I would have liked to make more sales. I would have liked if more people stopped by to buy stuff. but I'm still happy with my sales for today. Also, I just want to add, I do mention a lot in these videos, like when there's other crochet vendors, I mention that like I'm a bit worried for my sales and things like that. And then some people do say, because a lot of my plushies are my own designs, so they may be different from what other people make. And then some people say, well, if all or most of your plushies are your own designs and are unique, then you shouldn't have to worry about other crochet vendors, which would be great if that was the case. But I think, in my experience, this is just my experience, I'm not saying that's what's happening for everybody else. But for me, even though I have a lot of things that are different from other people's booths, people are just going to shop where it's cheaper. And I price my things according to the amount of time I spend on it, the materials, and my overhead costs. Since this is my full-time business, I'm running a business, so I need to account for all that stuff. Like, it's not an option for me. I cannot afford to lower my prices at all, because if I did, I wouldn't be paying myself a living wage. I pay myself a living wage. I don't think anyone would accept anything lower than a living wage at any job, so why should I take anything less than a living wage for my work? So I know other crocheters may do this just as a hobby, so they might not charge as much as I do, and a lot of customers notice that and they decide to shop at other people's booths, which they have every right to do. It just sucks for me when this is what I do for a living and I charge accordingly for my items, considering the time and materials and overhead costs to run a business. But customers will choose to shop where it's cheaper, which in this economy makes sense. But I just cannot afford to lower my prices, because then I wouldn't be living. So, yeah, that's just one thing I had to add, that as soon as there's another crochet vendor at the same event as me, usually my sales get cut down quite a bit, since my items can be more expensive than others. Sometimes they're about the same price, but sometimes I charge more than others. I'm not, like, everyone has the right to charge how they like. I'm just saying that's how I price my items for certain reasons. And as soon as there's another vendor selling crocheted plushies, sometimes for cheaper, that affects my sales. But anyways, I will tell you guys everything you probably want to hear about today's market, like how much money I made and about all my sales. So I'm not like super disappointed with today. Like, I still did really well. It was just really slow first sales in the morning, and like every other vendor was feeling the same, I think. So I'm just glad it picked up a little bit in the afternoon. So let's get to how much money I made today. So today I made a total of $646. Not horrible. The booth fee was $70, so I didn't quite reach 10 times the booth fee, but pretty close. The square fees were $7.22. I think like a lot of people paid with a card today, but a lot of people also paid with cash today, so that definitely helped cut down the fees. So that leaves me with a total profit today of $568.78. So, like, looking at just the numbers of like how much I made, that's looking decent, just because I was there. So considering I was there when it was really slow in sales, it was just kind of disappointing at that point, and I was getting a bit discouraged. But it did pick up, so my sales at the end of the day are pretty good. So now I will give you guys a whole breakdown of everything I sold, just like yesterday. Don't mind the mess here, by the way. My yarn room is a huge mess. So anyways, let's get to the breakdown and see everything I sold. So starting with big bees, or medium bees, I guess. I started with 5 and I sold one for $20. I started with 2 ladybugs and I sold one for $20 also. I started with 19 little birdies and I sold one for $12. I started with 2 medium cats and I sold one for $20. I started with 3 eggplants and I sold one for $15. I started with 7 elephants and I sold one for $28. For keychains, I did crochet quite a bit at the market again today, so the amount that I started with today is more than at the end of the day yesterday because I just added them to my inventory as I was making them. So for keychains, I started with 143 and I sold 8 of them for $8 each. I started with 12 hot dogs and I sold 1 for $25. I started with 24 small frogs and I sold 3 of them for $8 each. I started with 5 mini mushies and I sold 1 for $10. I started with 5 mini turtles and I sold 2 of them for $12 each. I started with 4 big mushies and I sold 1 for $20. I actually made that sale as I was packing up and the people just came and asked if they could buy something, so I said of course. I started with 14 chunky Octos and I sold 1 for $10. I started with 6 snakes and I sold 2 of them for $25 each. I started with 8 chubby bunnies and I sold 3 of them for $15 each. I started with 3 snugglers and I sold 1 for $35. I started with 2 stingrays and I sold 1 for $28. I started with 8 small sea turtles and I sold 5 of them for $18 each. I started with 7 jumbo turtles and I sold 1 for $38. I started with 25 mini whales and I sold 2 of them for $8 each. I started with 3 weighted chickens and I sold 1 for $38. And lastly, 2 people used the claw machine and got a prize, so I sold, I guess, 2 claw machine prizes for $10 each. So that's a total of 41 items that sold total, so that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. It was better than yesterday. Yesterday still wasn't horrible, but I sold more items today. A lot of small items today, but still pretty good. And then today's best sellers, number 1, again, is keychains and I sold 8 of them. Number 2 is small sea turtles, and I sold 5 of them. I'm pretty sure small sea turtles were also the number 2 bestseller yesterday, too. I don't know. I don't even remember, but I'm pretty sure. And number 3, we have a 2-way tie. We have small frogs and chubby bunnies, and I sold 3 of each of those. So today was decent. I'm happy with today's sales. It's just like for the amount of people that were there, it would have been nice to make more sales, but I get it. Money's tight for a lot of people right now, not necessarily everyone, but for a lot of people. So a lot of people are just watching their spending. And I think had I been the first booth, like the other crochet plushie vendor was like the first booth right at the front. So had I been there, I think I would have done better. But I mean, everyone gets a turn to be at different places. So hopefully it'll be my turn soon to be at the front, or like, I don't know where most people come from to be walking there. But I still did well. I don't know if that second crochet plushie vendor was there. It's just I didn't see her when I walked past, and my grandparents didn't see her. And like we see her quite often at these markets. So anyways, I don't know if she was there. None of us noticed. But if she wasn't there, and these were my sales today with one other crochet plushie vendor, like I feel like if there was 3 of us total, my sales would have been cut even more. So I don't know, like I think this market's organizers, they cap it at 3 similar vendors, which I guess like for a bigger event they will take more than 1, but it does affect all of our sales at the end of the day. So I know like if they only took 1 vendor of each category, they couldn't take so many vendors probably, but then every vendor there would probably benefit more. But I don't know, that's just me. Like I'm not trying to tell them what to do or anything. I'm just stating a fact that having someone else there selling the same items as me, probably for a bit cheaper, definitely did affect my sales. And one thing, I was placed beside people who were selling 3D printing stuff, which is cool. You know, I don't have anything against people who do 3D printing. I find it cool. But I think a lot of people, it was like a choice sometimes between my plushies, which is kind of a toy, or a 3D printing toy. So then I think that kind of like took away some of my sales too. But organizers won't really be like, oh, well, we won't put 3D printing and crochet beside each other because they're not related really, like they're not the same craft or anything, but a lot of the things that we both make are geared towards kids. So I guess that's one thing, and I think like a lot of 3D printing stuff is sold for very cheap, so then people might see my keychains that are $8, but then a 3D printing keychain that's like a lot cheaper, people might decide to go buy over there. So I think that definitely affected my sales too. But those are just different factors that I'm just mentioning that probably affected my sales with the amount of people that were there. But yeah, that's just my thoughts, my opinions, what I gotta say about today's market. So with the 2 markets that I did this weekend, I mean, I was supposed to have 3, one on Thursday, but that one got canceled. And also, I will be able to use that credit for that market for a Christmas market with these organizers. So at least I didn't completely lose out on the money that I spent to be at Thursday's market. That didn't happen. So anyways, with the 2 markets that I did do this weekend, I made a total profit of $948.31. That's after taking out like booth fees and square fees. I know that doesn't take into consideration like my materials and the gas I use to get to the markets. Don't worry though, that all gets taken into consideration at the end of the month when I calculate all of my business expenses. That all goes in there, so it does get taken into consideration at the end of the month. But that's not horrible. Would I have liked to make more? Yeah, obviously. Who doesn't? But I think it's okay. I didn't necessarily make 10 times the booth fee at each market, but I still did decent. I didn't lose money, obviously. And I still got to meet a lot of really nice people. I had some returning customers too, especially at today's market. I don't remember having any returning customers yesterday, but today I actually had like 2 that I remembered. And with the amount of people I see and meet at these markets, sometimes I don't remember. Sometimes people come by and they're like, oh, like I bought from you before, and I'm like trying to remember, but I just don't. But they understand that. But anyways, there was 2 returning customers that I knew of today. So that was really awesome to see them coming to shop from me because they bought from me before and they really enjoyed what they got and all that stuff. So it's really nice to see those people supporting me, coming out to see me. It's always super nice. So that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed coming to these markets with me, even though we didn't go to one. But don't worry, we have more and more markets coming up. We still had 2 this weekend, so definitely stay tuned. My next market is next Thursday, if it doesn't rain and have horrible weather. So definitely stay tuned for more videos like this. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!